And so many in the Black community, if I'm being honest, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan. So how do you...
In this segment, she openly calls him a charlatan. The episode features an all-star panel, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, and Whoopi Goldberg. True to form, the usual woke talking points have them worked up. Their guest for the day is author Coleman Hughes, who shares his views on colorblindness and race. They are visibly outraged that he wrote a book advocating for concrete steps to reduce racial prejudice and similar injustices. At first glance, it may sound like a standard woke manifesto, but it's actually the opposite. That's precisely what set Sunny, Joy, and Whoopi off. Let's take a look at this clip from The View, where they critique Coleman Hughes and his book before giving him the chance to respond live on their own show.
The question that I should ask you to do is explain to folks what you mean by this. Arguments for a colorblind America. What do you mean?
A lot of people equate colorblindness to I don't see race, pretending not to see race. I think that's a big mistake. We all see race, right? And we're all capable of being racially biased. We should all be self-aware to that possibility. My argument is not for that. My argument is that we should try our very best to treat people without regard to race, both in our personal lives and our public policy. And the reason I wrote this book, thank you. The reason I wrote this book is because in the past 10 years, it has become very popular in the name of anti-racism to teach a kind of philosophy to our children and in general that says your race is everything, right? And I think that is the wrong way to fight racism. And that's why I wrote this book at this time.
And I just point out that there is a reason for that. You know, when I went to school, getting any information about anyone's race was not taught in history. There was no Black history. None of those things.
In reality, given how contentious the idea of Black history can be, it might be better not to separate it from the broader story of America. Terms like Black History, Black History Month, and Black National Anthem can unintentionally create division. All of this should be embraced as part of American history. Historically, there wasn't a distinct focus on Black history, not because people ignored it, but because creating that separation wasn't the driving goal. Today, the emphasis is different. It's not that Black people don't belong in history, they absolutely do. The point is that we come together when we see everyone's contributions as part of the shared American story. After all, we are all Americans.
There has been such a pointing of very specific racial things, like women couldn't get into colleges if you were a Black person. There are a lot of colleges wouldn't accept you. Trying to equal the playing field. I think that's what a lot of folks have been trying to do. I'm sorry,
I think that's their experience and that's valid. You know, as a counterpoint, when I was in 5th grade, we all watched Roots together in public school.
Yeah.
So these are different experiences. I think it's also different generations, different parts of the country, right? We have very different cultures all living together in one country. So I'm not going to deny that, but I view this notion of a colorblind society similar to the idea of a peaceful society, which is to say it's an ideal, it's a North Star. And the point is not that we're ever going to get there, we're not going to touch it, but we have to know when we're going forward and when we're going backwards. We're going backwards when we're doing woke kindergarten in San Francisco. You know, with you didn't hear about the story?
No, but you want to get the part. But actually, you believe that public policies that address socioeconomic differences will be better at benefiting disadvantaged groups, and that race-based policies often hurt the very people they're trying to help. What are some examples of policies that would be better at reducing racial disparities?
So my overall argument is that class, socioeconomic, is a better proxy for disadvantage. We all want to help the disadvantaged. The question is, how do we identify them? The default right now in a lot of areas of policy is to use, Black and Hispanic identity.
This mindset is, in fact, overtly racist. It reflects the white savior mentality, assuming someone is disadvantaged simply because they are Black. While the woke movement claims to oppose this attitude, the irony is that they often perpetuate it themselves. They act as though you're Black, Hispanic, or something else, so I, being superior, must help you. That kind of thinking is widespread, but it doesn't have to be this way. In reality, these actions are fundamentally rooted in race.
You get a better picture of who needs help by looking at socioeconomics and income. That picks out people in a more accurate way.
My question, but when you say that socioeconomics picks out people in a better way than race, when you do look at the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and Black households. You see the huge disparity between white households and Hispanic household. So your argument, and I've read your book twice because I wanted to give a chance, your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed.
No, well, there's two separate questions. One is whether each racial group is socioeconomically the same. I agree with you, they're not.
Yeah, they're not. And it's got to show that.
Yeah, of course, I agree with that fully. The question is, how do you address that in a way that actually targets poverty?
For instance, why frame everything through a racial lens when it often doesn't fit? Why not focus on poverty or socioeconomic status instead of skin color? The actual numbers paint a more accurate picture of income and opportunity. Not all Black individuals are poor, and not all white individuals are wealthy. There are struggling white households and affluent black families alike. When racial narratives don't always hold up, why force everything into that frame? Looking at socioeconomic factors shows what really matters without creating unnecessary division. Yet figures like Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and others on The View keep making every issue about race, which can be frustrating. Examining class and status offers a truer, fairer, and far less divisive understanding of the nation.
Both Why We Can't Wait is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor, but it will be doing so in a way that also helps the white poor, in a way that addresses poverty as the thing to be done.
That part is true, but as you are a student of Dr. King, I'm not only a student of Dr. King, I know the story, right? So I'm going to get to my question. I think the premise is fundamentally flawed. You claim that color...
Notice how Sunny Hostin often changes the subject whenever presented with a point she can't counter. When he suggests focusing on class, highlighting how it would help poor white communities as well as disproportionately affected black and Hispanic populations, what does she do? She sidesteps the topic entirely. She doesn't offer a real response, so she pivots instead. It's clear she isn't interested in addressing the needs of white communities and seems uncomfortable with the argument altogether.
Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, conflict of character versus the color of skin. Bernice, Dr. King's daughter, points out that 4 years after giving that speech, actually, Dr. King also said this: a society that has done something special against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for Negroes. He also said in 1968, about less than a week before he was assassinated, this country never stops to realize that they owe a people kept in slavery for 240 years. So rather than class, he did write about that earlier on. Right before his death, he made the argument for racial equality and racial reparations. And so your argument for colorblindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted. And so many in the black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan.
Right in front of him, she calls him a charlatan. Take a look at Joy Bihar's reaction. Notice how she responds to what Sunny Hostin just said by fast-forwarding through that segment of the video.
Pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan. So how do you... You've never voted. You said that you're a conservative. No, you did. You actually said that
I said I was a conservative.
He's not. Yes.
That even made the other guest on the view, or rather the other host, visibly uncomfortable. What Sunny Hostin did right there, straight up calling their guest a charlatan to his face, and suddenly you see the rest of them shift into defense mode for him. It's wild, just crazy.
So, but my question to you is, how do you respond to those critics?
I think it's very important. The quote that you just pointed out about doing something special for the Negro, that's from the book Why We Can't Wait that I just mentioned.
Yes.
A couple paragraphs later, he lays out exactly what that something special was, and it was the Bill of Rights for the Disadvantaged, a broad class-based policy.
He also says you must include race.
No, he didn't. He says it.
Yes, he does.
Okay, well, everyone should go read the book Why We Can't Wait. Let's not get sidetracked by that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been co-opted by anyone. I've only voted twice, both for Democrats. Although I'm an independent, I would vote for a Republican, probably a non-Trump Republican.
The other host was clearly uneasy about the situation. The moment Sunny Hostin labeled their guest a fraud right to his face, the others immediately jumped in to defend him. It's absurd, completely over the top.
I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here. And I think it's better, and it would be better for everyone if we stuck to the topics rather than making it about me. No evidence.
I want to give you the opportunity to respond to
I appreciate
the criticism.
I appreciate it. There's no evidence that I've been co-opted by anyone. I have an independent podcast. I work for CNN as an analyst. I write for the Free Press. I'm independent in all of these endeavors, and no one is paying me to say what I'm saying. I'm saying it.
If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. Now, let's get back to the video.
You're a charlatan.
So in the past decade, it feels like racial talking points. Do you see that way in Whoopi?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at all the data, it finds that racial relations were getting better until about 2013. That year, you had the majority of Black, Hispanic, and white Americans saying racial relations were good, and then you just see it nosedive. And 2013, people like to blame Republicans, like to blame Obama, Democrats like to blame Trump. It was actually just technology. We all got social media and smartphones, and we had videos being promoted in the algorithm that were unrepresentative, and it created this impression that racism was on the rise when in fact it had been on the decline today.
And it allowed not all the foreign actors getting involved in
Yes, Russia tried to meddle, absolutely, but I don't think we can blame foreign actors. This is a homegrown problem.
I have a question. Because you write that the anti-racism movement, there are a couple of
Well, I don't even know who they are. Maybe Robin
D'Angelo,
Yeah.
Ibram Kendi, for instance.
Okay. Well, you say that is just another form of racism. You really say there's a lot common in white supremacy. How can you compare those two things?
I
You
compare
talk about
it
anti-racism. You're comparing it to white supremacy.
Because they both view your race as an extremely significant part of who you are. So white supremacists, they obviously say, we all know what racism is. Neo-racists like Whoopi Goldberg, they say that to be white is to be ignorant. Well, this is a racial stereotype, and I want to come all the way to spade and say this is not the style of anti-racism we have to be teaching our kids. We should be teaching them that your race is not a significant feature of who you are. Who you are is your character, your values.
I find it ridiculous how Sunny Hostin reacted, considering he was simply raising a valid point. For instance, why focus only on non-white groups like Black and Hispanic communities? Why not address the issue itself? By doing so, we can support low-income white individuals while still helping disproportionately affected Black and Hispanic populations. So what does Sunny do? She just gets angry and starts lashing out, calling him a charlatan.
Thank you, Coleman Hughes, for coming, because this is a show of lots of different opinions, and we are multi.
As soon as he speaks, the audience starts applauding. It's clear, though, that Sunny Hostin isn't happy about it. Whoopi Goldberg isn't thrilled either, and Joy Behar shares the same reaction. Every time he says something as simple as, your race or skin color shouldn't determine how we judge people, it's met with pushback, even though it's the truth and everyone knows it. Yet Sunny and Whoopi seem offended by it. They don't want to hear it. They cling to these beliefs, and it's obvious. Honestly, it's frustrating to watch. Let's dive in. The show isn't exactly known for showcasing a variety of perspectives. They all tend to share the same viewpoint, and honestly, it sometimes feels like they're being paid to push this woke narrative. What do you think? When it became clear that the hosts were irritated and uncomfortable, the audience started clapping, and even the other presenters seemed to turn on Sunny Hostin. Essentially, the crowd sided with the guest. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Coleman Hughes appearing on the show. Drop a comment with your opinions, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the great things if you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you again soon.